All this side, and not every man, no, no, DJ, ouch, man, shut up, stop making your face like that, I'm tired, boy, get your face out of your nose, boy. So I come and get my gun out. Bro, that's not right. Bro, stop. Can't work through that.
Driving slow now, but the combo she don't see me my punches. She wake up and munch it, let me pull you
on this.
Speaking on the phone, nigga, you ain't gonna know if I done got it.
Move, man. I'ma push you. Man, what you doing? Bro, I gotta push him out. No! He's failing. Shut up. Bro, move up out here. Please. Oh my God, no. Okay. Out of Go Blue Team! Go Blue Team! Ooh, we fan! Buy him! team. Go blue team. Go blue team. Go blue teams. Go blue team. Go blue teams. Go blue team. Go blue team. Go blue team. Go blue team. Hey. Come on, bro. Y'all save your friend. Oh, bro, you almost failed. Come on, bro. Bro, oh my god. Oh my god. Bro, back up. Back up. There's 2 friends left. And 2 bad guys left. Bro, this hard. Go to the hater. Hater. Ay. Go to the hater. Go to this dude. Save him, no. We gotta die. Bro, just die. Our team's gotta win. Oh, it's all we keep it now. All this hard. Every now. Keep it now. Y'all for the win. Boy! Cool! Yo, come on, y'all! Go, y'all! Let's go! Oh, man! Oh my god! He's the blue team. Bro, move how he's winning. Oh! Yeah! Oh, shit. Ow! Ow! Oh, stop.
My damn, I just had called for mama's sister. I answered her call. She's still on the thing. My ass last year, so I ain't talking to her. Started to call my son. I said, ain't nobody dead, is he? I said, oh, if you want to do not call this, could you be talking to me? And he was like, speaking of, he said he went on to pay your house the other day. He was mad at the motherfucker. He said, he said, oh, he wanted to drive to Detroit just so he could cut Dorothy the fuck out. He was like, I said, they still beefing. He said, Omarion didn't text Daddy because stop for that. On the couch, by the couch. Because Jonathan May's ass then had him do some work, a bunch of work. He told us he was going to pay for it. He did. So he did it. And he been calling her, she wanted him. I said, he treated that nigga. He treated that nigga. I'm going to She is not answering the phone out there. You told him to look okay.
And for a limited time, save up to $3,165 in select Shorty's LG kitchen screens.
Falling out!
Baskets menus. Get two for just $15. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers out to 6 weeks concepts. They're just up for $3 as an operation only.
Then I make it back to eat. Get to it's me. But cheese.
It's getting beautiful things to
Hey, one and don't card. Take that.
Right now, get 20% off your purchase of $5 or more, only in the app. Valid through 12/31/23 at participating McDonald's. Valid once per day, excludes tax. App download and registration required.
Bro, stop! Yo, grab it! Stop! I'm missing friend though. Hey!
I know university with my son's name himself. And I was like, both of them was like, huh? I was like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. Oh my God.
Have a game, Luke?
Yeah, I love that game.
They got space or something?
No. What you tell him?
I know we got to tell. You know, you try to be slick. Like Dolphins, man. I got one.
No, I'll say I was down our last check about 20 minutes ago to your phone, still going.
Hey, I got to run.
You got to run.
Yeah. Yeah, I went down there and unloaded it and put the other stuff in the dryer.
You know, my store tonight, trying to get bathroom thing.
Alright. That'll work. Oh boy. Alright, nigga, turn this shit off. I know that you bounced me one too many times.
I'm honest.
You need to learn your fucking reading like you know this shit. Turn it off. I wouldn't even pay attention when you watch it. Well, you at least knew how to fucking read.
Turn the
You don't
TV
even
on.
try to get You don't even try to get a book and read. But you keep on putting that TV on bull swing.
I was trying to get a book. I was trying to get that book.
If you ain't trying to get the books that's at your level, it's no point. One of these. This is the one you was already reading. Here. What, the five? Oh, no, you know how to read five. You need more pages.
No, I only read the rest of the book.
Yeah, you read these, it's gonna be like reading the rest of them here, my word. School's not back tomorrow, so I gotta get back on your head and then you'll be great. Nigga.
That means
Go ask school.
I'm bad with tomorrow.
Sad day for you, man.
Across the state of Michigan. It's important to note this because, hey, we're at the time of the year where people go up north. Every weekend, you got a place up north. You just want to get away for a little bit. There's active weather and severe thunderstorm warnings from Traverse City through Cadillac, through the central portions of the state, all the way down here to us. And that does include some pretty strong weather at this point, moving even farther down to the south through Ohio. And that's going to be gearing down on Toledo in the next 45 minutes to an hour.
Why are you talking to me?
The timeline for a lot of this, 6 o'clock right here, that's our first line here. So I drew this line at 5 o'clock. And every hour, this is how it is expected to continue to grow and evolve and conditions devolve. So between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, that rain, that line of storm is going to move right here. And then from 7 o'clock, you're looking at an 8 o'clock line, probably on the eastern side of areas in St. Clair County. That's at 8 o'clock. So this is going to continue. I think the narrow heart of our bullseye is between right now and 8 p.m. So we're just starting to get into it. Now these boxes, these are the warning boxes. So remember the Coney dog analogy? This is where the Coney dog is being eaten currently. So this is where the severe thunderstorms are moving in. And the main threat at this point is going to be strong winds. Now, I say strong winds, I mean 60 miles an hour, maybe even more. 70 miles 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts were reported in parts of northern Indiana as these storms are moving across. So these are the same storms that they had. They had 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We're looking at nearly 60 miles an hour. A little bit of good news, though, as we break these down in a three-dimensional way, they are not as high in the atmosphere as other previous severe thunderstorms that we've tracked, even this year so far. So a storm needs to be real high, real tall through the atmosphere to get things like microbursts, downdraft, big, large hail balls. I mean, you need a really tall cloud to get that ice chunk to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we are not seeing that with most of these that are moving through southeast Michigan. Now, that's not to say that they can't get a little bit stronger, because we are seeing some strengthening with these cells that are moving up near I-69 and 96 near the Lansing area, so we could continue to see more strengthening through some of these cells. You're looking right here, you see these little spinny things. Well, that is a tool we have. It's called a storm tracker. And with the storm tracker, it indicates when there's an early indication of rotation. That's not to say that there's a tornado forming, but as there's some rotation in those mid layers of the atmosphere, our storm trackers will highlight that, and it gives us just an area to key in on and say, okay, we're going to keep a real close eye on that. Hail has not been a huge concern with this storm so far. You look at these purple blobs, that's where it looks like the hail has formed, and it's been mostly marble size, so it's a little bit below penny size, and we'll talk about hail sizes in just a second. Also, lightning strikes in the last 30 minutes. That's a high number, but it is not an astronomically high number. 758 lightning strikes in the last 30 minutes from the cell areas north of Lansing through down into northern Ohio. So again, these are all good signs here, but we are not going to let our guard down. We are still watching for these thunderstorm risks as we move through the next couple of hours. Large hail could get as big as golf ball size, but we have not seen any reports of that yet. Winds of 60 miles an hour, that we have seen, so we have already picked up on those strong gusty winds. Some flooding rain, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, and there is that outside shot that we could see that tornado, which is why the tornado watch was issued earlier today. As far as what we've seen so far, we've stayed on this end of it. Penny size is what I've looked at. Marble to penny size, that's half an inch to 3/4 of an inch. But the National Weather Service was worried about this one. A lot of people are already a little bit scared talking about hail because we had a few rounds of it earlier this summer so far, and that golf ball size was what we had. All right, let's move on to your forecast then as we do look at here some more of these threats. Already kind of highlighted some of what we're watching. Low risk for tornadoes, medium for that large hail, and really it's the gusty winds that have the most of our attention here. Precip chances look like this. The biggest chance for that rain and those thunderstorms to continue to impact us 6, 7, 8 o'clock, maybe as late as 9 o'clock, and then it starts to drop off. We are not totally dry overnight, but we still have a kind of a smaller chance. It does not appear, though, that the severe threat will linger a whole lot longer than 10 or 11 p.m. We're going to check that 7-day forecast here coming up a little bit later in the HD show. For now, Hillary, back over to you.
All right, we appreciate that. I'm amazed at your meteorological mic with those fantastic metaphors. So if you do live in a low-lying area, GLWA is asking you to be on high alert and prepared, especially if you've had flooding before. As you just heard Derek say, the National Weather Service is predicting the storms will be severe, accompanied by heavy rainfall beginning this evening and extending over the next couple of days. Areas like Dearborn Heights and communities downriver, we've gone to cover the flooding that we've seen when there's been close to a washout there. Creeks flood. We have seen fish in the street. GLWA is asking residents in these low-lying areas that are prone to flooding, like the aforementioned, to stay vigilant and get anything valuable out of your basement, just out of an abundance of caution. The 3-day forecast anticipates 1.1 inches of rain, with the potential to increase to 1.7 inches of rain. Again, according to GLWA, the regional system is working as designed, is in dry conditions, and currently has capacity to handle the expected flows into the system, but that's just their prediction. We're going to watch it closely. They say it's also very helpful if you do not run your washing machine and dishwasher during heavy rains. Okay, of course, we're covering other news happening in and around Detroit, and sadly, we have learned a woman, 103 years old, has died, apparently in a house fire. I just spoke with Chief Harris of Detroit Fire about this. He says crews discovered her in the kitchen, and she was dead when they got there. This is the 14,800 block of Glastonbury. Harris says his fire crews got word around 11:36 this morning. A neighbor heard the woman's daughter screaming and then called 911. The 69-year-old woman had some minor smoke inhalation and burns. That's the daughter. The smoke and fire was mostly confined to the kitchen. The house had hardly any other damage, which is kind of amazing. The two women were the only people at home at the time, It's too early for fire investigators to know what caused this deadly blaze. It will also said to report yet another case of gun violence in Detroit, finding the youngest people in our city who should feel safe walking, living, and playing in our community. A teen boy was shot in what police believe might have been a drive-by shooting. It happened around 5:40 yesterday evening on East Canfield and Burns near Pengree Park. He was taken to the hospital and last listed in critical condition. The family of a Detroit neurosurgeon who was murdered inside his home is doing their best to help police crack this case, raising $20,000 to bring the total to more than $22,000 to hopefully catch a killer. The goal is to find out who murdered Devon Hoover. He was found shot to death in Detroit's Boston Edison neighborhood back in April. He had multiple gunshot wounds to his head. A person of interest who was being held after the murder was released from police custody, and so investigators really need leads here. And Hoover's family came to Detroit from various parts of the country and Canada to hopefully convince someone to tell police what they know.
We are praying for the safety of God's community here in Detroit. We are pleading with the community to come forward with any information, any tips that anyone would have regarding the murder of our brother. It would mean so much to our family to have some answers. And to all of Devon's many friends here in Detroit, we really need the help.
And if you know anything about this case, please reach out to Detroit Police. And also, you can always call Crime Stoppers. You know that number. It's 1-800-SPEAK-UP. All right, the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, is headlining tonight's Lincoln Day dinner, and we are there right now awaiting the former president's speech. We want to get you live to where it's happening. The dinner is put on by the Oakland County Republican Party. Obviously, you can see that's not the president, but that's our live shot as we are awaiting Mr. Trump's speech. It's happening this year at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi. The stated goal of the event is to build the infrastructure and ground game necessary to be successful as a county party in the 2024 cycle and beyond. The party rightly acknowledges the important role that Oakland County plays in Republican leaders in Michigan to be in attendance there. Mr. Trump is likely looking to make up lost gains in popularity and votes as he vies to be the grand old party's nominee in what's becoming an increasingly crowded field. Mr. Trump is also facing a federal indictment for allegedly mishandling classified documents. We'll be following that story closely, and we'll bring you an update tonight at 10 o'clock. So we talk about it all the time. The idea of freedom is one central to our American ideals. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The encapsulation of that very vital concept. And we've worked for generations to see these principles realized more fully and perfectly. Sometimes progress happens in the halls of Congress. Other times, it's in the streets of Detroit. The idea of freedom is one central to our American ideals. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The encapsulation of that concept. And we've worked for generations to see these principles realized more fully and perfectly. Sometimes progress happens in the halls of Congress. Other times, it's in the streets of Detroit.
Personally, my grandparents and parents marched in 1963 in Detroit. So I believe I have a responsibility. They've all passed on. I have a responsibility just to kind of continue the legacy of my ancestors and their advocacy for social justice.
The NAACP Freedom Walk Down Woodward represented a retrospective, reflective, and current day evaluation of our fight for freedom.
This march and this dedication on this day is a true representation of our hope for the future. Dr. King talked about he had a dream. So we're still pursuing that dream, and that's what today really represents.
The march and echo of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s walk to freedom some 60 years ago. Dr. King took demonstrators down Woodward in 1963 and delivered what was dubbed a preview of his famous I Have a Dream speech, a notable and sizable demonstration at the time.
I marched in 1963, so I was just curious. This is another celebration, so I wanted to come and see what it was.
This time around, fraternal organizations, congregants, activists, and anyone dedicated to present-day struggles for freedom and the vigilance required in vying for equal access walked.
And it's peaceful. You know, so yeah, that's what my cap said, you know, March for peace.
5A Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, the NAACP, and community members gathered to unveil a new statue of Dr. King in downtown Detroit, a prelude to Saturday's march, a prelude to the continuing pursuit of freedom and justice for all. The walk precedes the Fight for Freedom Fund dinner launched in 1956 during a period of renewed national hope and determination among Black Americans, even in the face of continuing racial violence and tragedy. The event is this evening. We will have full coverage in our late newscast. Back to you guys. All right, so we want to give you an update on that, obviously. The dinner has already started, and we're there right now. Wendell Anthony, a member of the National Board of Directors for the NAACP, was speaking just moments ago. We're going to bring you a full update on that. Camila Mary is there working that story as we speak. Look for that tonight at 10. All right, we've been covering it pretty intensely and consistently. It is Pride Month, and Berkeley held its Pride Block Party. And then
You put that girl down for your daddy's looking for that joker in the morning. Because you ain't gonna know shit. You ain't gonna have half an answer.
I just got done.
It's for your family freedom. It will work. All you gotta do is get in the big house. Learn the house in there front room.
Do you know that your daddy tried to do what you doing? And he got caught right outside of Berkeley County.
Why you asking me all these questions about running? I mean, does somebody got a plan off this plantation? Huh? Huh?
Shh. I asked my God,
Billy, welcome. Not know who else I thought by now.
Hold on, gal. Who said I'm coming with y'all?
oh, you can stay out here. All by yourself.
Rain on the sunshine, middle of the rainbow. We will be. Look at the castles, beautiful flowers. We are. Look at the kings and queens. Do you believe in me?
King.
This is not just a little This is knowing even superheroes can use a sidekick. Always.
You don't want to talk about it? Get it? Come up? Don't want to hear it?
Any other matters to come before the court today?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Maskey, Customer Sheriff.
I am not suicidal. I
I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
They about to go behind the scenes on all this shit. Just smell it. I'm kind of like TV. You know, I get pissed off. I got to talk to you. It's right there. No, his shit.
Small step.
I mean, even though it's on the show, on there, it's hot.
Smollett, you're the ERT team, emergency response team. We handle all the high-profile guys. We had R. Kelly when he was here. You were in the safe hands with the whole situation. How do you request a group of guys?
Looks like it's bored. That's just all we feel.
Here's
Jussie Smollett, an actor who films the hit TV show Empire here in Chicago, told police he's the victim of a hate crime that took place near his Streeterville apartment.
Everybody immediately thought this is what Trump's America is like. You had people in MAGA hats chasing after a black man in the night, tying a rope around his neck, calling him racist slurs, calling him homophobic slurs.
The idea that
How would you be fine this shit? Yeah, that was the part they had just shown after he got sentenced. I remember when he did that, the court, he was saying he wasn't suicidal, he wasn't something.
Trying to say he fucked himself up?
No. After he got sentenced, since they were taking him back to jail, he did that in the courtroom, like, if something happened to him, basically. That's what he was saying. I'm not suicidal, I'm not this, like, because he didn't know if they was going to fuck him up.
Oh, no, they're trying to kill his ass.
Yeah, so he made sure he made that statement.
I'm not suicidal.
And that footage we saw with him after the court, he got sentenced to 6 months. You missed the part when it just said he only did 6 days. So yeah, we're gonna see what led up to him.
honestly prominent actor on a TV show gets jumped in the middle of a very cold night by two people yelling that it's MAGA time and putting a noose around his neck. You couldn't write that. Everybody knows he lied, right? Am I supposed to pretend that that's up in the air?
When I heard that a black gay man had been attacked in Chicago by white Trump supporters, sounds about right to me.
Look, I've been a cop a long time, 3 decades. Most folks aren't going out at 2 in the morning to go to a Subway sandwich shop on the coldest night of the year.
Where I come from, we don't trust police, right? I'm like, I know it's true because I don't believe anything police have to say at all.
What does K-I-N-G mean? Got it? Spell it for her.
And you can't have your TV on while you trying to talk to her.
Yeah,
have that TV on.
Gotta cut the TV off, it ain't gonna work.
Ever. This went from a hate crime to not just a hate crime investigation. You know, I'll use a word you probably have to bleep out, called a shitstorm. It's raining shit.
The shitstorm is about to happen.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one.
I never saw a case become so politicized before from the get-go. I've never seen so many people hitch their wagon to a story to advance their agenda.
That case in Chicago is a disgrace to our nation.
It was just shocking to me how this thing became this combustible engine that just went, pow.
The attack on Smollett was potentially orchestrated by the actor himself and involved 2 other men.
I knew there was going to be a media frenzy. We need to catch the guys that perpetrated this crime.
What's the thing?
He has to leave the thing. They about to talk about there they go.
But it's a show. They was doing it for
No.
We were the ones that did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
He did it for publicity.
It was us.
That was true. That's what I heard. Go ahead. Big ass black niggas in the
Right, African niggas.
Chicago,
Yes. Hello? Yeah, what's going on? I just see the police to come by. I work with an artist. I don't really want to say his name, but the guy, I don't know, they jumped him or something like that.
So he is like a star. He works on the show Empire. So I think he doesn't want that to be a big deal. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So the thing about this it makes me emotional. This thing makeshift. What do you call the thing? A noose around his fucking neck. Sorry, you know. Do you guys live together? Or no, I'm just his creative director. Okay. Do you want to take it off or anything? Okay, so can you turn it off? Yeah, you're giving us permission to shut it off?
Radio producer and I went out in front of our building and we brought a ton of props. Here's our banana. Here is our bottle of water. It's frozen. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. I think when we shot that video, it was 22, 23 degrees below zero, and that was the surface temperature. That wasn't the wind chill. If you've never experienced a polar vortex, it's not something you want to be outside in for very long. It shakes you at your bones, no matter how much clothing you're wearing. Your eyelashes freeze, you can feel your nose hairs, your teeth start to chatter.
A second day with record-breaking temperatures plunging into the double digits below zero. The center of the nation locked in a deep freeze. Leaders are stressing the bitter cold still needs to be treated as lethal. You don't need to be outside at this time.
No, we were together. We came on that appointment. And it was cold. It was one of them, it was below. And Dr. Herman, he came in our room and he said, Miss Richardson, I ain't even gonna ask you if you want to get these tubes tied because it's cold as fuck outside and you here. So you want to be scheduled. I said, you got that right, because nigga, I'll be pregnant tomorrow. I mean, I said, you got that shit right there.
So you let the motherfucking car work me that close.
The car was hey.
Yeah.
I let the car heat up for like an hour. The car heated up for like an hour. I remember that.
And still put it down the street.
Fuck yeah, but I was gonna make
I was at City Hall along with countless other reporters from every news outlet, and the city was going to announce how it planned to deal with another night of record-setting temperatures. And as we're all sitting around, a reporter from WGN says, "Hey guys, you see this Jesse Smollett story?" The guy from Empire says he was attacked by two white supremacists wearing MAGA hats at Streeterville, carrying rope and bleach at 2:30 in the morning last night. And the scene would be the modern day equivalent of that scene in Airplane when all the
boy, I'm trying to watch TV. Here's my very mom.
Almost done. It's crazy that they even shit over though. I'd have been for this shit. Fuck my fucking people. I'll say, thank you, good. Thank you, GitHub. You bitches is finally done.
that shit too good. Guess when I'm doing some shit like that, it's I got just take Wi-Fi basically. Arnold, what is you doing? Why is you pacing? Chihuahua. Why are you pacing? And you're taking 1,000 miles an hour. You're about to burn a hole in the floor.
I keep walking, and I keep it doing with your finger. That is my imagination.
Yeah, you should be thinking about this sleepy bug again. I'm about to give you your medicine.
What? What?
Why am I like this? Why got the
Because the store broke again.
oh, don't start. Don't start.
Because the store broke.
I say, you know, if we talk too long, your brother gonna come in on us.
See,
Do it faster.
it was the storm. It broke it. Blame it on him. The power ran out.
They come again. My brain, right.
Well, the power ran out in a few seconds.
See, here you go with your shit. You gonna be tired of your ass.
I swear to God.
I see. I watched him as a child. You wasn't out here.
I knew it. Look at the system. He's evil.
What's going tomorrow? I gotta go to work.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, this. and there's a storm on 4 a.m. Monday morning, when you get out of school. This power will destroy everything.
For real? That's how you go play?
Look,
I watched the news.
4 years. So, wait, when the power will be off on? I don't know.
Y'all ain't shit. Sam sucker. No.
I don't know. Don't stop, B.
She got her power.
$500.
I don't know. It's a beautiful. I don't know. Well, I guess it's raining now. Remember. Well, I guess it's raining out. Remember.
For real?
So he's like a star. He wants to show him higher. So I think he doesn't want that to be a big deal. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So the thing about just make the most time. It makes me emotional. This thing makeshift. What do you call the thing? A noose around his fucking neck. Sorry, you know.
Do you guys live together? Or
no, I'm just his creative director. Okay.
Do you want to take it off or anything?
I do. I just want to. Okay, so can we turn it off?
Yeah, you're giving us permission to shut it off?
Niggas don't be so devastated, they be like, oh! Like, you know, you're gonna take this shit off.
Yeah, I can rehearse part of this shit. I'm looking at it like, I was police. No, we've already explained he's a star.
Go. Every time I give you a project dealing with school, you end up
Our radio producer and I went out in front of our building and we brought a ton of props.
Here's our banana. Here is our bottle of water. It's frozen.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at that.
I think when we shot that video, it was 22, 23 degrees below zero, and that was the surface temperature. That wasn't the wind chill. If you've never experienced a polar vortex, it's not something you want to be outside in for very long. It shakes you at your bones, no matter how much clothing you're wearing, your eyelashes freeze, you can feel your nose hairs, your teeth start to chatter.
A second day with record-breaking temperatures plunging into the double digits below zero. The center of the nation locked in a deep freeze. Leaders are stressing the bitter cold still needs to be treated as lethal.
If you don't need to be outside at this time, don't go outside.
I was at City Hall along with countless other reporters from every news outlet, and the city was going to announce how it planned to deal with another night of record-setting temperatures. And as we're all sitting around, a reporter from WGN says, "Hey guys, you see this Jesse Smollett story?" The guy from Empire says he was attacked by two white supremacists wearing MAGA hats at Streeterville, carrying rope and bleach at 2:30 in the morning last night. And the scene would be the modern day equivalent of that scene in Airplane when all the reporters rush to the phone booth. All of us whip out our phones and we all start reading the story. And we all kind of look at each other and we're like, there's no way that happened. But nobody was going to say anything. This is a racial issue. We're not going to say anything.
Ladies, 6 minutes, please.
This is my life. It's not always picture perfect. Plus, I'm dealing with bleeding from uterine fibroids. Enter MyFembry, a once-daily pill for women with heavy menstrual bleeding due to uterine fibroids.
With MyFembry, heavy bleeding went down by 84%. Serious risks include heart attack, stroke, and blood clots. Don't take MyFembry if you've had any of these or have uncontrolled high blood pressure, are over 35 and smoke, could be pregnant, or have or had osteoporosis, liver disease, undiagnosed vaginal bleeding, certain cancers, or an allergic reaction to it. Don't use longer than 2 years as bone loss may occur. Pregnancy loss can occur and changes in periods may make it hard to know if you're pregnant. If you think you are, stop taking it right away. Other risks are depression, suicidal thoughts or actions, abnormal liver tests, high blood pressure, and passing of the fibroid.
Less bleeding, same life? I'll take it.
Ask your doctor about MyFembry.
My life, MyFembry.
To 50 years with my best friend and my soulmate.
Bounty absorbs spills like a sponge, and Bounty is 2 times more absorbing, so you can use less and get the job done with more.
You've got to put your face on your face.
Bounty, the quicker people.
A diaper this leak-free sets them free. Only Pampers Cruisers 360 have a 360 stretchy waistband for up to 100% leak-free fit on every wild child. Pampers Cruisers 360. Live wild and free.
And free diapers? Download Pampers Club now.
This is not just delivery. This is no
sidekick. Walgreens. In 2019, we were a few years into the Trump presidency, and the idea among what you might call good thinking people is that racism was on the march in America, that it was more overt than it had been before. Because of Trump's obvious casual bigotry and the fact that people feared that his bigotry was giving entree to his fans to express their own previously sublimated bigotry in new ways. So that was around. Racism was on the march. The country was being run by Archie Bunker. And you think about Chicago, and Chicago certainly has a certain history about race.
Chicago politics is all about race. It's all about tribalism. That's what it is. And we pick our politicians based on their tribal identity. Rahm Emanuel was mayor then, and he covered up the Laquan McDonald shooting. Kid was shot 16 times by the police, and there was a video. Mr. Emanuel kept it under wraps so he could get elected.
This current state's attorney's executive leadership has been an unequivocal failure.
Kim Foxx seized upon all this and rode to victory.
This night belongs to Kim Foxx, who becomes the first African-American Cook County state's attorney. How would I frame life in Chicago in 2019? Where were we? Even though Trump was president, right? I don't think the Chicagoans are happy about that.
This was the scene tonight at the University of Illinois at Chicago Pavilion. It was supposed to have been a rally for Donald Trump.
During the election, he wasn't able to give his stump speech at the UIC Pavilion. Protesters had prevented it, and it was a continuation of Chicago protests because it was Chicago activists that brought the Laquan McDonald case to the forefront. And so activism was rolling in that winter.
A friend of mine had sent me a screenshot of the front page of, I believe, a TMZ article that showed that Jussie had been attacked. I went to my brother, ran to him, and was like, yo, mission accomplished. We did it. So we're like, good job. Now we've secured the payment of our $500 that he owes us, because he only wrote us a check of $3,500, and that was the day we were supposed to leave for Nigeria. Our trip to Nigeria was planned months in advance to go audition for a show called Big Brother Naija, which is a big show in Nigeria. Things were on the up and up for us. Things were looking pretty good.
I do my newscast that night, and I go home, and I call one of the public information officers of the city of Chicago at 10:45 at night. He answers his phone, and I'm not going to give his real name. Let's just call him Steve. And I said, hey, Steve, so what's the deal with this Jussie Smollett story? And Steve goes, oh, my God, it's a bunch of bullshit. It never happened. And I said, well, can I quote you on that on the record? And he's like, no. He goes, just tweet out that Chicago police are taking this very seriously, but that we're skeptical. Now, if you've ever covered any sort of police department, you know that a public information officer will never give you anything demonstrative. Every statement is police are investigating. We have no information at this time. As we get more information, we will give it to you. They'll never give you anything with any color to it. The fact that a public information officer went on the record and said, we're not buying it, made my jaw hit the floor.
Cops, especially those who spend any time as a detective investigating crimes, have a pretty reliable pass-fail test, smell test, we'll call it. This one did not pass the smell test at all, not even a scintilla. The possibility of two individuals walking around one of the most affluent areas of the city of Chicago at 2 o'clock in the morning wearing MAGA hats is, again, something that just defies all credibility.
You ain't doing it right.
After I got off the phone, I tweeted out, Chicago police are taking Jussie Smollett's claim seriously, but they are skeptical. I went to Twitter. I was shocked how many news outlets went with this as truth. A lot of newspapers went with the headline, Jussie Smollett attacked in racially motivated incident. That's not a true statement. The true statement in the headline that you should have gone with is Jussie Smollett says he was attacked in a racially motivated incident. And I was equally shocked by how many people then retweeted these articles as truth. Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, these racially motivated incidents in America need to stop. And I responded to them on Twitter and said, you may want to find out if this is true or not before you comment on it. Because anybody who knows the city of Chicago knew this story was made up. And you were going to look bad. I woke up the next morning and my tweet was filled with hate speech and personal attacks. Black Lives Matter activists, to Ray McKisson, people going after me personally. I didn't say that I didn't believe Jussie Smollett's story. I didn't, but I didn't say that. I said Chicago police didn't believe Jussie Smollett's story. Everything I reported, I attributed to the Chicago Police Department. Therefore, it was factually true. They did, in fact, say that.
I get a call from some detectives who I knew, who I'd worked with previously, and they wanted to know if they could come by and see me at the hotel. They're looking at all the video that there is in the neighborhood and trying to see what sort of leads they can generate. I spent 33 years of my life with the Chicago Police Department, and I culminated my career as the chief of detectives. After that, I was director of security at the Hyatt Hotel in Chicago. So they came by and said, you know, do you have any cameras on the outside? And sure enough, there it was. There's one cab at a cab stand. He's sitting on the east side of the street, and we see two men come along, and they jump into this cab. Cab drives off. Fortunately, there was a good angle. The video clearly displayed the cab's registration number, and the rest is history.
When they brought that footage back in and pieced it together, and then I went down there and saw it, I'm like, this something ain't right with this here. When you've been a cop for so long, you get certain instincts about certain things. So I remember the detective that put that footage together. We were all both thinking, that don't look like two white guys walking down the street. Sometimes they just have different gaits, and that's what we saw on this video. They were walking like black guys from the neighborhood. They really were. And you know, you have to spend a lot of time getting instinct for that kind of thing. I remember telling the chief of detectives, those are two black guys. Those are two black guys.
Really? I feel like he's just saying
hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah,
Cap. I called Cap on that. I called Cap on that.
We was in character the whole time.
So you think you guys are believing?
100%. Look at it.
Okay, first of all,
Images released from Chicago police don't show much detail, but they're the latest in the alleged hate crime against Empire star Jussie Smollett.
So the first photo that we put out, we actually had a better photo. So now, in full disclosure, I can say this. The reason why we wouldn't let them put it out was because it did have a red MAGA hat, red baseball cap. I can't remember if it said MAGA or not. But I didn't want people to focus on that because it would cause more angst. So now that next day when everybody finds out about it, do you think we would have had some issues in the city? Yeah, we would have, because black people, minority folks, and the gay community would have been outraged. And you know, sometimes once that toothpaste gets out the tube, you can't put it back in there.
They were worried that if this was a racial attack, white people attacking Jussie Smollett, there could be social and political repercussions, and violence. People were literally and seriously concerned about that at the time. In a town where we had the 1919 race riots, where a child was beaten to death and killed on the beach at 31st Street because he was black.
Yeah, okay. I just got the new job. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you.
If you're ready to advance your career, Southern New Hampshire University can help you get there.
Southern New Hampshire University has changed my life tremendously. I went from thinking college wasn't for me to graduating to getting the job.
With over 200 career-focused programs, SNHU can help move your career forward.
I have my degree, and it's something that no one can ever take away from me.
Reach your career goals at snhu.edu.
Yeah.
Help calm their tummy in just 24 hours with Enfamil NeuroPro Gentle Ease, the leading formula with unique, easy-to-digest proteins and expert-recommended brain-building DHA. Happy tummy, happy baby, happy you.
I'm gonna get up and beat your ass. I know you want it, because I'm gonna get up and beat your ass. So then you gonna be up in the middle of the night.
This is Chicago. This is Chicago race relation. 1960s. Dr. King is here leading the civil rights movement. There's an iconic photo of him kneeled over after being hit in the head with a rock by a mob of white people who were violently protesting his plan to come here and integrate housing in Chicago.
Oh, I've been hit so many times, I'm immune to it.
So, of course, I had no reason to disbelieve Jussie when he says that he's walking in a white neighborhood in Chicago and is attacked by racists and Trump supporters. Of course, I believe him.
We all know why we're out here. Jussie Smollett was attacked in a racist, homophobic attack by members of the MAGA movement, and we are done with it.
We want to make it clear. We know, but we want everybody to know that this is a racist, brutal, anti-black, homophobic attack of hate violence.
Those MAGA hats and people who say "Make America Great" embody what terrorism is in current day America.
I got the call from one of the PIOs saying, "You're not going to believe this. I just watched the surveillance video. I saw Smollett carrying a Subway sandwich after the supposed attack. He still had the rope around his neck." And I'm like, "Really? He was still carrying a sandwich? And that must have been one fucking great sandwich." And I'm like, "Can I tweet that?" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." I said, "Can I use your name?" He's like, No, just say anonymous source." There were 3 TV journalists that the Chicago Police Department relied on to get the information out there. It was me, Charlie DeMar at CBS 2, and Rob Algus at ABC 7. I was a little shocked how much information CPD was leaking out about this case. They've never done that with any other case that I've ever covered with them. We joke about it. You know, I'd get the call, "Hey, this happened." I'm like, "Hey, have you called Algus yet?" No, somebody else is calling Algus. I'm like, "Okay." I didn't really know why, other than a lot of folks in the media were reporting this as truth, so perhaps CPD wanted to combat that narrative.
There's a very tight-knit community here. The Chicago establishment, the cops, the lawyers, the state's attorneys, the judges, the defense attorneys. People talk. And when people talk about something that's very obvious, people are going to come to conclusions.
You brought your feet that fast.
The Troubadour concert. So in addition to me being a television executive and researcher, I also DJ. One of the promoters that I work with booked Jussie Smollett at the Troubadour before this happened. I was already set to DJ this show. This was not like this thing happened and then promoter booked him and put him at the Troubadour. This was already supposed to happen. When this happens, the ticket sales exploded. The promoter hits me up and says, "Hey, we're not gonna have you DJ because he wants to use his own DJ, but this thing is like oversold. So I just need you to just come and just lend a hand." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool, I can do that, no problem." I've done a ton of shows at the Troubadour. I have never, before a show, been sitting in that bar area, looked out the window and seen that many people. Ever. there was a little bit of like, man, I hope nothing happens out here. Because I know a lot of right-wing people were like, F Jesse. You know, it was like a lot of that sort of, those kind of negative comments floating around in the atmosphere. Here he is doing a show at a very public place, middle of Los Angeles, a ton of media, right? It's just like a spectacle. And I was like, man, I hope nothing happens. So Jesse takes the stage, and it's a good show. Like, he's doing his thing. The dude is talented. But during the middle of the show, and this is when I trusted my instincts. This is when I came to the realization that this is not real.
I was bruised, but my ribs were not cracked. They were not broken. I went to the doctor immediately. Frank Gatson drove me. I was not hospitalized.
I'm listening, and I'm in there. My heart is in there. I'm like, this is what's up. Wow, we're getting it straight from the horse's mouth.
And above all, I fought the fuck back.
He then says,
I'm the king Tupac.
And the crowd just goes crazy. They wanted to believe it. But in my mind, when he says that, it was a letdown. I knew it was false. I knew it was completely false. I knew that didn't happen the minute he said that. And the reason why I knew that is because anyone who's been through that kind of trauma and that sort of situation would never describe it in those terms. I've been robbed. I know people who have robbed people. I have never, ever, ever heard them describe that experience in any way close to that. Never in my life. And that's when I knew. I said, if that really happened to you, you would never describe it in that way, ever. There's no sort of heroics about that. There's no puffing your chest up about that sort of thing.
When I first arrived in Chicago after being told to go there to cover the Jesse story, we're about like a week and a half after the crime actually happened. So the story's already been international news. So I was like, let me just go check out the scene of the crime. Chicago's a notoriously clean city. In New York City, there's trash all the time, everywhere. So that's not really saying much if you see trash on the ground, X amount of days after an event happened. But in Chicago, it is saying something. I'm looking around, and then I notice a hot sauce bottle. It was an unusual piece of trash, and as a New Yorker, I know trash very well. So I pick it up and I kind of smell it, and it had this like kind of soapy smell. And I was like, this is all just like super weird. At the time that I found this piece of evidence, all we knew is that Jesse had a chemical agent poured on him, and that the vessel that the agent came from had never been recovered. That's all we knew at that point. They had his clothes, but they never found the bottle where the bleach was poured on him. At the time, there's a manhunt all over the city. The Chicago Police Department has deployed all of their resources. They have thrown everything in the kitchen sink at this story because it's making international waves. So then I had the fun task of calling up the Chicago Police Department's Detective Bureau and saying, hi, I'm a journalist here covering the scene, and I think I found something that's a little bit strange and you guys might want to come take a look at it. And the sergeant comes, and they end up putting some little crime scene tape and putting a little marker on it, taking some pictures, like doing the whole CSI thing with the hot sauce bottle, which was really funny. My newsroom was a little bit concerned that there might be more to this story. So I went door to door on Jesse's Neighbors, spoke to people coming in and out, and people doubted it. That's like, nobody was really saying that publicly, but behind closed doors, everyone was wondering, how the hell does something like this happen in Chicago? At this point, they still don't have a person of interest. And while Chicago is practically bathed in surveillance cameras, Jesse had picked the one spot in town to get attacked that didn't have a camera on it. At the time, I couldn't tell if it was people who were just very proud of their city and who would be like, no way something like this could happen in my city, like a very proud Chicagoan, which is like very Chicago. it started to occur to me that there might be something more to this. I mean, people who live in this neighborhood know who frequent these neighborhoods, and they didn't think it was possible. And then at the same time, I'm working the Chicago Police Department as well for any updates in the case. I'm pumping them. You know, I demand an interview. I was like, we're the New York Post. I'm like, we're a national newspaper. We circulate right here in Chicago. So talk to me about this case. And I started to kind of get that hint that not everything was adding up with them. And you start to get the vibe that he's not really helping this investigation. And then, of course, the question is, why wouldn't you be helping the investigation? You've been the victim of a horrifying crime. You know, as journalists, we are often called to report on uncomfortable truths, and it is a difficult part of the job. And then you also, it's a scary time to be gay. You know, I'm a gay woman. Looking at Jesse's story and seeing how he was the victim of a hate crime, and you know that's a fear that you have. Anytime I walk down the street holding hands with my wife, I have to worry about being the victim of a hate crime. And to see that he was a victim of this supposed crime, and then to start to see that there's some doubt about it, it's uncomfortable. Am I saying that a Black and gay man lied about being the victim of a hate crime? Because that is a really, really serious thing to say, and I really didn't want to be the person to say that. But once I had the evidence that I did, the public had a right to know what was going on with this case.
Initially, the groundswell was pro-Smollett. There was a rallying cry. People wanted it to be true. Everybody was nervous about going against that story initially on.
There's nothing more biddable or malleable than a white liberal journalist who's dealing with racial issues. They are terrified of anyone possibly calling them a racist. And so they'll create a hero out of a bug like Jesse Smollett.
As the leaks came out from Chicago PD, that's when the public opinion changed. And PD knew that. It was very smart of them to do that. Those leaks helped us, let's be real. They served our agenda, but our agenda was, we work in media. We want more viewers. We want more readers. The more people that watch us, the more job security we have.
I think maybe by that third day is when the detectives had the evidence and linked it to the Osundairo brothers. The detectives did an awesome job of collecting that video and tracking it back. By that time, we knew it was a hoax because we know the Osundairo brothers are the ones that perpetrated it. So we had it dead to rights. You know, we just needed them to tell us what actually happened. They're out of the country, so I didn't want anybody knowing about that. We also knew when they were coming back, which wasn't that big of a time frame. But my fear was this, because we knew they were out of the country, I didn't want them getting wind of it and not come back to Chicago.
So you guys are on a plane back from Miami, and it is over here. What are you expecting?
Flying back from Nigeria, we were expecting our other $500 check. We need our cheese. We need the rest of our money. I felt like I was just gonna get back to business. Head back, start doing auditions, continue working out, and living my great life. I had a whole different feeling. I felt like the police was waiting for me. That's what I felt like. They're releasing all these little bits of evidence, but they knew it was us. I was like, they're just waiting for us to come back. And lo and behold, when I was getting off the plane, the customs agent was checking everyone's passport. And when they got to me, they pulled me aside. Two big-ass police officers came up. I went with them. I was like, damn, it's over with. They got me.
It was like a movie itself.
It was like a movie.
The Chicago Police Department confirming they've been talking with 2 people of interest in the case for hours. The reason why the men were there is now central to the investigation.
I don't believe it's my boys. I don't know what's going on, but I know it's not them.
Just because they were black doesn't mean that they weren't the perpetrators here.
This was just some Hollywood shit.
It's MAGA country. Yeah, you heard me.
And I'm just in my head like, what the F?
The start of Jesse's own demise was his interview with Robin Roberts.
That's when I told Gloria, like, yeah, I'm ready to talk to the police and tell them exactly everything that happened.
I'm pissed off. What is it that has you so angry? What happened that night, Jesse?
He was hungry because he had that sandwich.
And now here's Amy with the flow forecast. Like the weather, your flow changes daily, and so should your Tampax size. Heavy downpours coming in, size up for added protection. If it hurts to remove, size down. Over to you, Kate.
If you can see, it's like day 2 of my period out here.
You should size up.
Are we still talking about the weather?
I hope so.
And only Tampax has Elite Guard Braid to help with better protection and 5 sizes for your changing flow.
Look at the brains on Jim.
Just keeping myself informed.
Pack your Tampax combo.
Assignment. We're going to be transporting a prisoner from O'Hare Airport over to Area Central. Our event number is 14534. 14534. They've already gotten their Miranda, but they, got nothing to say. Any names I should be asking for, or they know this guy's coming? All right, cool.
Lexus belt, strings, whatever. Sir, do you have any identification? Yeah. So what's going on there? I don't know what you do. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Bell's got to go off.
Did you get his coat? No, we can have the coat back. You can take the strings.
I felt like an animal, like a caged animal. You see those tigers or lions that be walking across the cage and walking back and forth? I was literally doing that in the cell, wondering like, what the hell? What am I doing? I didn't know the time of the day. We didn't see no daylight, sun, night. We didn't know what it was. I just know it was long as hell.
Like, that really messes with your mental. It really does. Because you don't know how long you've been in there. You just know you're in there. I feel like it's a tactic that they use as well.
At this point, have you told the police anything about the attack on Mr. Black?
Up to this point, we never said anything to anybody. The police doesn't know anything. We didn't tell them we were involved. We were mum. Didn't say nothing, nada.
Gloria Rodriguez, attorney for the Osungayo brothers. I do a little something called door law. Whatever walks through my door. If I can help you, if we get along, if I can actually advance your cause, whether you pay me in money, tamales, or, you do my hair, whatever, we'll find a way to work with you. In the summer of 2018, the law firm included my paralegal, Cindy, and also my husband at the time, Jorge Rodriguez. And so the three of us were working as we do today, doing our everyday door law, just making things better for other people, one client at a time, literally one client at a time.
When I first met Gloria, I was giving her a ride to the courthouse. She did introduce herself as a lawyer. So I'm like, oh, that's really good. I told her a little bit about my boys. I have 5 children, 3 boys and then 2 girls. And she gave me a business card.
Like I normally do, I meet my Uber driver and I see in her photographs, she has pictures of her sons. And I remember she was so proud and she said, aren't my boys like so handsome? And I said, yes, and make sure if they ever need a lawyer that you have them call me. Fast forward to February of 2019, February 14th, Valentine's Day. In the very early morning, it was exactly 2:44 in the morning. A Chicago number starts texting me saying, I need your help. My mom told me that I could call you, please help us. So I said, what is the issue? And he said, the police are at our house. They're searching for things. They gave us these papers and we don't know what to do. And we don't know where our brothers are. I said, ask them for a copy of the search warrant and text it to me. And I'm reading the text messages and it says, things to be seized. Bleach, okay? Red hat. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Empire script. I'm like, I just remembered Jorge told me about this crazy story that some actor got jumped in Streeterville by like MAGA wearing Trump supporters. And I just remember dismissing it like, that's not real. But now I'm thinking, oh my God, the police is involved. This is serious.
Police investigating a possible hate crime against actor Jussie Smollett are asking the public for help. Smollett is best known for the TV drama Empire. He claims he was a